This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Destruct sequence Alpha 1. 15 minutes silent countdown. Enable.
Self-destruct in 15 minutes. There will be no further audio warnings.
So much for the Enterprise E.
We barely knew her.
Think they'll build another one?
Plenty of letters left at the alphabet.
To help break this alphabet code?
This alphabet flex.
It can't be our alphabet.
Take it easy, I'm new at this.
What, the alphabet?
So, like, I want to talk about the 4 L's, right? And I want to try and talk about them from the level of these 3 other things. I want to talk because these are the ones that instead of these terms, and they're beautiful terms, and I use them myself, from heart until it. But I want to go to, you know, the identity claims that are made. God is love, God is light, right? God is life, and God is logos, right? Because those terms stretch from the height of our conceptuality to the depth of our embodiment. And then I want to put these 3 words, the place from which we talk about them: incarnation, embodiment, and incorporation, because they all overlap and they're all circling around each other right now. Because I think of incorporation as pointing to distributed cognition in particular, right? And so I want to talk about these things, right, in as new a way as possible, where we're as much as possible trying to see where we are bullshitting ourselves. And I include myself, where we're bullshitting ourselves by being in the grip of a picture rather, right, than understanding. I care about light, meaning intelligibility, and right, the lived meaning.
No, I don't use the word God. Like, that's the kind of, like, I feel like you put a little bit of some words on the experience that I sometimes have. And, you know, to back up before Feldenkrais, I want to mention, not just as part of my personal narrative, but because the metaphor you used before, and I hear this metaphor a lot these days, could just be who I'm listening to, but the metaphor of music, because yes, music is in every culture. Yes, yes. And I think, you know, probably, I don't know, I don't have any references to give, but I would imagine that music for a long time was connected to religion. It was connected to spiritual practice.
Music, upper Paleolithic transition, art, music, dance, and ritual are, right, you can't separate them, and you can't separate them for a very, very long time. Right. We have grown up in a post-enlightenment period in which we've separated all these things out, and we've come to think of that as natural. Whereas the evidence that it's not natural, I think, is pretty convincing.
Yeah.
So yes, there is. So, like, for example, don't talk about God. I've been talking to the 2 Pauls about this, Paul Vervaeke, Paul Antletter. I always get the other Paul's last name slightly wrong. I apologize, Paul. And I've been talking about, I don't want to, let's not talk about God. Let's talk about God before talking about God. Let's talk about the 4 L's, right, which is logos. And we've been doing logos and talking about logos.
Yeah.
And this is in the Bible, the Gospel of John. There's 2 books in the Bible that begin with "in the beginning." Most people know about Genesis. The other one is the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Logos, and the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God. The Logos has this very strange relationship, right? And so, right, and it's been associated with God or the depths of being. But let's talk about the Logos. The other one is I'm just using the Bible here because it's a shared reference point. Right. I mean, no insult to Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Taoists. I don't, because the thing I'm going to talk about next shows up in all of them, which is agape, right? And the Bible famously says God is agape, which is like an astonishing thing to say. And we sort of turn that into a Hallmark card. Oh, isn't that sweet? And we sort of clap our hands. We go, wow, you got to really think, go back. So,
and agape being a certain form of love.
A certain form of love. Like there's eros, there's philia. Eros is that desire to be one with somebody or something. It can be sexual, but it can also be spiritual. It can even be physical, like wanting to be one with a cookie. Like you know how to be one with a cookie, you eat it, right? And it becomes part of you. And that's why we use things like that in things like The Christians use it in the Eucharist. You eat the
Yeah.
body, right?
Yeah.
You're literally embodying, right? So there is
And then agape,
God,
you were gonna.
agape. So logos, love, light. God is light. God is life. Okay, now what's happening, for example, in cognitive science is we're coming to deeply understand how much the principles of life are the same constitutive principles as cognition. I gave it earlier an example. The opponent processing that's in my biology comes into my affect, and it comes into my attention. So it's a deep continuity between biological life and cognitive life.
Well, and
The
I want
life
to
of the
say it
mind-
even, you mentioned how it comes into our conversation. So it even
Yeah.
comes into, it becomes larger than one person. It can become.
takes on a life of its own. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It becomes self-making and self-directing. Yes, exactly. So let's what we can do is we can do dialectic into dialogos, and we can also read a different way, Lectio Divina, and we can participate in rituals in which we are deeply re-engaging and reflecting on light, love, logos, and life.
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X,